Welcome back to Holistic Healing Association. I'm Erin Darcy. I'm certified in body processing and clinical hypnosis. Today I have with me Francis, who's a holistic therapist who's trained in somatic processing and art therapy. This is her second time appearing on our show. Thank you so much for joining. Would you like to
Thank you
tell
for
us a little
having
bit
me.
about yourself?
Um, I don't know where to start. There's so much. But I started training so I'm also certified in body processing, root cause therapy, and holistic creative arts therapist. Excuse me, sorry. And I also am a mum to two neurodivergent children, and I'm also neurodivergent myself. I also have a background of complex trauma from childhood and from a DV relationship. So I actually have a lot of lived experience in the area that I work in. And I also am a trained artist as well, which would explain the gravitation towards creative arts.
Okay, thank you. And you have a special interest in neurodiversity, is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct. Especially with what I've learned with my youngest boy. He's actually he's level 2 on the autism spectrum disorder scale, and he can be quite challenging at times. And also, I find it quite interesting in how there's such a crossover between trauma and neurodivergency, that there's actually quite a lot of
There
parallels.
is.
So, yeah, so you can actually, with my daughter, it was hard to distinguish. I had to do a lot of work with her because I was obviously trauma trained. So I was able to help her with her trauma, but not her neurodivergency. So I helped her with her trauma, and then once I helped that with her, I could recognize that actually, you know what, that what your behavior and what you're doing right now is actually more towards neurodivergency than trauma. So it's very hard to try and distinguish between them. And also through my research, I found that uh, trauma is actually a form of neurodivergency, because trauma actually changes your brain, and that's what it's all about. It's how your brain processes things and reacts. So with my an example would be like my son. While I was pregnant with him, my cortisol levels were extremely high in my body due to trauma with his dad.
Oh,
And I know that he would not be so high on the autism spectrum if I hadn't of had the cortisol. So I hadn't been going through that trauma while I was pregnant with him. It actually so there's studies and stuff done that actually show the effect that trauma is on causing like higher levels of neurodivergency in children.
interesting, because
So yeah,
that's very interesting. I was not aware of that.
mm,
Because I will share with
mm,
you that my teacher's daughter, or my daughter's teacher, just told me she may be. And when I was pregnant, or in my third trimester, I was told every single week I was going to be left.
um,
So I was under
that's tough.
extreme stress.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Not that the fact that I was going to be a single mom, I was concerned, deeply concerned about my child's well-being and how she'd grow up. Now she lives with me full time, and from everything I've been told and can see, she's a healthy little child who's happy. But just
Mm-hmm.
recently, the teacher has said I should look into getting a diagnosis.
Yep.
So that's
And
interesting you just
that's
said that.
yeah, my son, he was 4 when I actually knew since he was 2, because there's actually I have neurodivergencies also genetically in my family on both sides.
Mhm.
Um, and my ex-husband, he's also neurodivergent, and all of his other children from his first marriage are as well. So there was a
Okay.
likely this very strong chance that both my children were, but it was just going to be where they were on the spectrum. Um, but yeah, my son was the same. He was 4, and when he was doing, because we do kindy here, before they go to school. And it was actually his kindy teacher that first time I met her, and I said, "Oh, hi, my name's such and such. I'm here about my son. I just wanted to." And before I'd even like said anything, she goes to me, ASD. I'm like, I just looked at her and I'm like, what? She said, "Yep, I can see it." I said, "Oh my God." I said, "Thank you so much." I felt so much relief, because I knew my son had it, but I had nobody else acknowledging it or seeing it. So I was hoping that I wasn't just being a overprotective mother and stuff. But once I had someone else back it up, and then it was like, yep, okay, great. So I went and did what I could to get him looked at and diagnosed. So he's at an early intervention is key very much. I can see the benefits of doing early
Oh, for
intervention with
sure.
my son compared to other kids that haven't had early intervention, um, and
100%.
stuff.
I fully
Mm,
support that. I know too, I had some struggles. I couldn't speak till I was 4, and I was in Kids Ability. I'm not sure if you're aware of that is. It's a foundation to help
n
kids that are struggling.
okay, right.
And
Yep.
my
So,
parents were like on it right away and were
yep.
significant support and help. And that is why I'm where I am today. Because if they had said, my child doesn't need help, you know what you're talking about, I would have struggled significantly more.
Correct. Yeah. I did struggle. All things aside, my parents did do some things correct and helpful, because I too had learning difficulties at school. And my mum did take me and got me again early therapies and stuff. Like I had occupational therapy when I was in primary school, so that would have been, about the same age as my children now, so between 8 and 10. So but it's hard because sometimes I think the bad things outweigh the good things. So, and it makes it hard, like as you get older, and then you have to deal with those bad things that have, like the traumatic things that happened. But anyway, sorry, I digressed then and went on
Oh,
another
no.
tangent.
Organic is always the best. People always say that. Come on with the organic. Let's bring
But
it.
it's actually you just reminded on actually saying that, and like art was actually what helped me. I've always had that natural talent. I've always been creative. I've always been drawn to creating things. Um, and as I've studied it and learnt more as I've gotten older, I realized why. It's because art and creativity are our first languages. That's how we learn to communicate when we're younger. That's how we express ourselves. So as children, before we develop language, the way we communicate is through like if you just all you gotta do is look at children at nurseries, at daycares and stuff like that. The kids play, they draw, they get into dancing, they sing, they move, like all of that, they build things. And
Mhm.
that's all forms of communication, but we don't understand or see that it is.
Mhm.
So by doing the art therapy and stuff, and that's why I look more at not just doing drawing or painting, but at all of the different types of creative arts. They're all expression.
It's true.
They're all, yeah, and even writing and like poems and stuff, they're all forms of expression and help us to express parts and understand those parts of us that don't understand language. Because there's and with because there's parts of our brain, most of our trauma, if hopefully I think I'm pretty I can oh I never remember correctly, but most of our trauma sits in our reptilian brain, which doesn't understand the language as much. That's a different part of our brain. I can never remember the parts, but I just know that there's a bridge. I always imagine it as like a bridge. So there's a bridge from our part of our brain where we use to process things and our day to day. So I can't remember what parts of the brains they're called. I'm really bad at that. Um, but there's like a bridge between the two of them, and unfortunately, language and time doesn't cross over. So when we try to access those parts um, where our trauma is stored, it doesn't understand time, so it doesn't understand that the trauma is not happening now, which we have learnt through which I've learnt through study and stuff. And it doesn't understand language like talking. So by using the art-based therapies, you're not having to use language, and you can express what you're feeling in that moment. Um, and I find that it's great. And actually, I use a lot of the techniques and stuff that I use with clients. I use for myself.
Perfect.
So I can say that they work and stuff
Well, the best therapists are people who do it on themselves.
correct. Yeah, like that lived experience. Like I fully have like that lived experience, and I do, and actually, do it with my children as well.
Good.
So I use it with my children. So uh, I and yeah, it's great. It's a great way of doing it and stuff. And it was actually through doing one of the activities that I was practicing with my children that I realized my daughter was her neurodivergency. So it like the way so I'm not at a stage where I'm not qualified to be able to diagnose, but I can recommend that I can say, look, this is what I've observed and stuff. So,
From life
but I kind
experience.
of, yeah, exactly. And just from my own study and understanding of things. And yeah, I actually it's called like, I brought up writing because I actually used writing to work through one of my traumas recently. So
Writing can be so good.
yeah, it's called automatic writing. So what you do is you don't think about what you write or what you're doing. You just allow your and it's the same as like I do drawings and there's a quote that I got from one of my art teachers um quite a few years ago now when I was doing some of my art studying. And he said, just take the pencil for a walk. So it's the same thing with the writing. Just take the pen for a walk, or your fingers for a walk if you're typing. Like it just depends on how, because there's no right or wrong way of doing anything. And just through doing that and like to giving people the skills. So as you're writing, um, just allowing yourself to have that, take yourself out of it and that third person perspective. So like you're looking at as in like, oh, with a sense of curiosity, going just writing things and then like, okay, that statement's interesting. Why did I write that statement? And then and then answering that. So with that sense of curiosity from the outside of looking in, so just allowing the free flow.
Hmm.
And it was quite a powerful tool because there was a couple of things that come out, and I was like, oh, okay, well that's interesting. Like it's interesting, and it's gave me a different perspective on the trauma that I'm working through at the moment. Um, and I'm not quite comfortable in sharing what it was, what it was, because I'm still working through it, and it's quite a integrated part of like from my childhood all the way up to now. So it's quite a significant trauma. And I didn't realize it was until I started working on it, which makes it interesting.
That's
But again,
often, that's me too. I think a lot of people are like, that's fine. And then when you
yeah,
start experiencing it or seeing how it's impacting you in your life or starting to process
mm,
it, you're like, whoa, this is more than I thought.
yeah, and unfortunately, it's connected to a one of our basic needs as a human. So so we as humans, there's three main basic needs, which is food, shelter, and what is it? Safety. But yeah, it's to do with one of with one of those. So it's quite a significant thing. I was, if you like, I can actually probably share some of my um works that I've done in
Sure.
relation to my art therapy.
I'm sure
I just
people
have
would
to
enjoy that.
I'll just find some and bring them up for you. I have photos of them, which make it easier than me trying to hold it up, and
Okay.
because sometimes you can't see. So so one thing that's quite interesting that we do is like it's it's called masks.
I've heard of it, yes.
So I will just share that with you. So this was a mask that I created. So what you do with that is you actually build it. So you start by making the face shape, like paper mache and stuff and whatever. And then you make then once that's done, you can create it and paint it however you like. So this was me working through that process, because it's again very powerful because a mask is obviously you put it on and stuff. So with people with neurodivergency, obviously we mask a lot. So like because of we are in a our society and everything is set up for neurotypicals.
And can you tell us what masks mean?
So masking is a it's kind of like it's like a shield. So it kind of put up this persona that is what's expected of you. So when you go into like say to school and or to out into the public into certain places, there's an expectation of a certain behavior. So with neurodivergent people and also with trauma, you have to kind of like create this mask of who the world thinks you should be, and it's not actually your authentic self. You're actually hiding who your true self is. So by creating the masks, it actually is a way of showing your authentic self in a way that if I put the mask on, this is actually my authentic self. I'm not masking, but
Okay.
I'm putting it on. There's been a lot. I've read a couple of articles about a lot of war veterans, that do it because there's that side of them, especially with females, because that's the side of like they're a soldier, but they're also, if they're a mother, they're also a mother, and they're also like feminine, that's soft, nurturing. But soldiers are very, very different. It's a very different culture compared to what's expected of you as a female. As they've done it, and I've seen stuff where people have had like the mask is like one side's one thing and one side's the other. Especially like if they've been injured as well. It's a way of creating their identity again. It's all to help because it's all nonverbal stuff. So I'll just change pictures for and I'll show you some other stuff that I've done.
And how long have you been doing artwork for?
My entire life.
Your entire life? At what
Yeah,
age
yeah.
did you start?
Wow. I really I don't know. I really don't know actually. I've just always been drawn to that form of communication. Um, I've always done it at school. All through high school, when I was through high school, that was my major um picks of like what I wanted to do. When I think I was 13, a Renaissance exhibition came to Australia,
Mhm.
and we went and had a look at it. And through that going and seeing that uh, sorry, uh, going and seeing that all of those artworks, that was when I want to study art. I
Okay.
want to do art. That's what I want to
That's
do.
when there was the moment.
Yeah, and I can still picture it, I can still see it, I can still feel the atmosphere. And back then back then they obviously very different. So we had the audio things that you could hire, and they'd go around and they talk about all of the stuff. And I just had a realization through your question and something, and it would explain how symbolism, the symbolism of art, and how painting certain things in art and how they were painted expressed certain information and certain feelings, and they symbolize things without having to use words to express.
Does make sense.
Yeah, and it's that I just I just had a aha moment. Um,
Don't you love those moments?
yeah, I always have aha moments, always. Yeah, especially when I'm working through things, and I come across things, and stuff like the like interviews and with yourself and other discussions with other people. I get how things are linked for myself, and why I've ended up in doing what I'm doing, because it's like, oh, I was been giving all of this stuff all of my life to feed through to get to this moment, to get to now, to get to where I'm going to help other people,
Isn't that beautiful
and help them.
realization?
Yeah, it is. It's very powerful as well. Um, but just yeah, just the way you could express yourself with art and stuff, and like um and that was actually something else I had to work through as well. Because there was another trauma with my mother. Like she would always say to me about how all artists are crazy, and we are. You have to be crazy. But the context and the way she said it was not to be as a positive. It was always a negative and
Okay.
like condescending. And then she would also back it up by saying, "Oh, you're so talented, but you haven't done anything with your artwork. You haven't done anything with it." So that
Okay.
was
That's a dig.
I worked through yeah, I had to work through that really, really early, which was good because otherwise I wouldn't be where I am right now. And I realized that, you know what? It doesn't matter. Like
But you have done
I
something
do
with it. You're helping people. And
exactly.
you know
I
what?
have.
That's significantly more important than having an art piece hanging up in an art wall and
Correct.
people come and see it.
Correct.
You're helping healing
Correct.
people.
Yes, that's it. And using art is an amazing tool, like just like any creativity. And I've always maintained myself that like even like sewing and cooking and all of the what they consider crafts, that's also creative arts. It's not it's an ex well, form of expression. And like even just with like some of the cooking that you see, like chefs and stuff, like when they present their work, is that not artworks?
Or it can be. I can also be delicious.
Exactly.
It's like
Exactly.
experiencing the art.
Yes, exactly. And that's what and that's what like live performance art is as well. It is experiencing it in that moment.
Mhm.
So there's all different and we actually need creativity. We've always had creativity and expression. Um and and it helps us to express our individuality as well.
Which is huge,
And that
especially when we've experienced trauma, to be able to find
yes.
our individual self, our authentic core self, and
Yes,
embrace.
that is correct, and it's not easy. So by
Oh,
doing so I was also trying to work out how to like integrate what I have learnt through all of my somatic based training and my holistic art training together. Um, but I've realized that through helping clients and stuff, it's just again, it's that organic stuff. It's the organic way of doing it. It is literally just um you cannot go, oh, this is how it's going to be done. It literally has to just be you led by the client. You're led by what they're interested in. So I may have someone who like just trying to get examples and stuff. And I'm also trying to flip through, try and find some more painting because there was one that I wanted to add, to show, but I can't remember where it was. And so this is another form of so this is actually a form of self-expression. So this is actually my identification. So it kind of helps if I have examples.
okay.
So this one, the idea was to go around and take photos of items that represented my identity, myself, who I saw myself as. So
Okay. It's
some
interesting.
yeah, so so this was done on this is done digital oh. It's done on digitally. So I've taken photos and then I've gone through and edited and they're actually artworks that I've created as well. So this one here of the figure was one that I had to create. That was a artwork that I created. Again, my mask is in there.
I noticed.
This was a
Yes.
yeah, as you can see, I've used masks in other artworks as well. So there's another one just here where I've used masks again. Again, that was another form of expressing my identity and working through that. And then I've edited some photos. So I have a nature is a huge connection, like
Nature is
getting
so
out in
healing.
nature. Mm. And also I have a huge connection with flowers. So there's like the images with flowers and they're all like around the house and stuff. And obviously my collection of study books. I've got a huge list of books that I want to read through, and also have representations, symbolic representation of my children. So my daughter absolutely is fascinated with cinnamon roll from Hello Kitty. So there's a picture of a cinnamon roll in there, and my son, that's I've put in his favorite stuffies, and he absolutely his hyperfixation since he's been small has always been dinosaurs.
Okay.
So he's got his so I've got his dinosaurs and his favorite stuffed toy that goes to bed with him every night. So to represent that, like my children, so like I'm a mother, but I'm also all these other things as well.
That's
So this
beautiful.
was, yeah, and the doll here that I made, I actually sewed that, and as you can see, it sits on my bookshelf. The child, that's my inner child that's attached to it,
Okay.
because I've had a realization that through through my training and through my own therapy and helping others and my children, I have actually become that parent or that safe person that I needed, because I know my home is that home where all of the children come to.
Oh, nice.
Like the neighborhood children come to my house, they just literally they literally will just walk straight in the door. Don't knock, just walk straight in. And a couple of times I'll turn around and go, "Oh, hello, where'd you come from?" Because there's a random child in my house.
But your house is a safe house.
Yes, that's yep. And
Well, isn't
and
that feel good?
it is and just through doing all of that work, and also because I do have an understanding of the neurodivergency and able to recognize it, and um it's a constant battle with it. So I can empathize with parents and people who are neurodivergent, that it is a constant battle. And you're constantly having to change your approach and stuff, and finding new ways of doing things and stuff. And at each, especially with children, at each stage of their development as well, because as you know, children have at certain ages they have certain milestones that they need to meet, and also their bodies go through changes. Like with boys around eight, which is my son right now, they get their next lot of hormones. So I noticed through that change, just before he turned 8, his behavior and stuff started changing. So sometimes too, with the neurodivergency, it's hard to distinguish between what is ADHD, so attention hyperactivity disorder, and the autism spectrum. So what is autism and what is ADHD? Because they're very different. And stuff.
And what about
So
highly sensitive? That's also neurodivergent.
yes, high sensitive is also that's another one. So those people that um yeah, they have overstimulation and stuff. So because that's me as well. So I also have a nervous system disorder. I've got fibromyalgia as well. So um I've obviously it's all nervous system based.
Hmm?
Overstimulation, it's it's also can be a trigger to be overstimulated. And the best thing to do, I find, is model. So when I get overstimulated, and I will say to my children, "This is happening. I'm overstimulated. Can we stop doing this?" Or and this is what I need. Um, can we do this? And then my kids do the same now. They will
Yes, I
recognize.
know.
They
Okay.
recognize they're overstimulated and go, and they'll go. So more my daughter, because she can verbalize how she's feeling. And she goes, "Oh, I'm overstimulated. I can't. Okay, all right, okay.
Because they're learning
What do
by
you need to?"
example.
Yeah. So I'm like, "All right, what do you need to do?" But and sometimes she'll just do stuff, and I'm like, the other thing too is like I will sit down and like I uh mindfulness activities are great for the overstimulation.
Mhm.
So things like coloring, drawing, um, puzzles
Mhm.
as well. And anything that can make them hyper focus on that
Makes
one
sense.
thing helps them to ground and
Yes,
to and calm. Um, and it depends, everyone's different. So everyone's sensory needs are also different. It's like anything, it's very individual. So someone could have the same actual like official diagnosis, but their triggers and their coping mechanisms would be totally different to the next person.
exactly. And what works for one person may not work for the other, but grounding
Correct.
exercises do work. It's just finding the one that works
Correct.
for you.
Yeah, correct. So that's where you've got to work through and go, okay, yep, that one doesn't work. That activity or that uh process doesn't work. We'll try another one until we find the one that works.
And
Um
that's why it's important to find a therapist that has many tools in the box.
That's correct. Yes. And I definitely have lots of tools in my box. Um, and I keep going, keep finding courses, more courses that I want to do, and more books I want to
Oh,
read.
there's so
And
much.
I got a huge list, and I'm like, I can't get them through, can't get through. And I like have a huge list saved on my Spotify of books because some books I can't get, like I can't borrow through my library because I don't have them, but they're available as audiobooks on Spotify. And it's just like, so I've got this huge list of stuff, but it all helps because the more information you have, the more tools you have, the better you're able to help and
Exactly.
understand. And
Exactly.
that understanding is huge. So another thing too is like an example would be like my son, because he's finds it hard to verbally express himself when he's feeling overstimulated or he has a very so one thing that neurodivergence and especially with ASD have is a strong sense of justice. So very much like right or wrong and what's fair. So I find that that sense of justice and what's right or wrong, that's a very strong trait, that one. And my son has it. Uh, for good or bad, he has it. So when things like between him and his sister, like if he doesn't think something's fair, if she gets something and he doesn't, then his behavior, he uses his behavior to show to express himself
Okay.
because he doesn't know how to express himself other than that. So a good example that I came across is there's two types of the neurodivergence. One is there's so uh you know the iceberg analogy. So you've got the iceberg at the top, and then you've got all this stuff going on down underneath. And then the second one is a volcano. So they're holding all of this stuff in, like holding, and all of a sudden they just explode.
Hmm.
I have a volcano and an iceberg. My son's the iceberg, and my daughter's the volcano.
Ugh,
So yeah,
combo.
so so like I was saying before, like she said, she's overstimulated. So when she gets overstimulated, like she's bottled it all up, and then all of a sudden she just explodes. And like, um, So I'm like, okay, yep. But with my son, so with his sense of justice, so what would happen is he'll be doing something, and like, unfortunately, he has no impulse control as well, which is
Okay.
another trait of neurodivergency. So if he thinks that his sister's wronged him, or that she's got something that he doesn't, that he thought he should get as well, he will retaliate. So he will hit, like, attack her. So he will, like, maybe do something to, like pull her hair or walk
Mm.
past her and knock her or something. Um, but I've got to, you need, sometimes it is, sometimes it is. So you got to kind of be a bit of a detective. You got to go,
And what's
okay,
what? What's the behavior
yeah,
coming from?
yeah. So like, okay, same as like if you get trauma triggered, you got to work back and go, okay, what? Okay, I'm in a trauma trigger. I'm finally out of it. Reflecting back, what actually set me off.
And what do I
So you
need
got
to
to do this.
process?
Yeah. So you got to do the same. So like, I will go. I have to think. Okay, really quickly, like process it really quickly, and go. Okay. So what happened? Oh, okay, right. Okay, then I'll go and then I'll say, okay, buddy, what's going on? Why is your behavior? Why you keep doing this? Um, so to try and get him to do that self-reflection and questioning, and then I will prompt him with things like, are you upset because your sister got that and you didn't? And then he'll and just let him process it, and then sometimes he'll say he'll most of the times I'm correct, and he will go, yes, that's correct. Yeah, yes, that's yes, I'm upset because I missed out. So that his sense of justice got.
Now, sense of
So that's
justice, though, what the psychologist was explaining to me, because I'm just learning about this, is it's like more black and white thinking, right and wrong, so very
correct,
strongly about ethics
correct.
and um doing the right thing,
Yes,
right? With your conscience.
yep,
It's like conscience is very
yes,
important, very huge. Um,
yes,
following the rules.
correct.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
it is all of that stuff. Yes, it's very much like right or wrong, black and white. This is how it's supposed to be. These are the rules. So
Yes. Yeah. Okay. And but it's
yeah,
also
so
it's important um to look at that. Like that can be a good trait to
yes,
have,
it
but
can
it's
correct.
also reflecting, okay, because life's not always black and white. And
Yes.
looking at how is this looking at the full picture.
And that's what you have to do. You have to explain the full picture. So sometimes it'll be like, so natural consequences is actually a really great way of trying to get them to understand and accept things. So like say like he so his sister got something and he didn't. The reason he didn't get it was because of his behavior just before.
Mm. And
But
that's exactly
he
what I
doesn't,
do with my daughter.
yeah,
Take
but
something away.
because of his ADHD, he's time blind.
Okay.
So he doesn't understand consequent like foresight. He has no foresight or hindsight.
Okay.
So he has to be taught. He doesn't have it naturally. He has to be taught. So
Okay.
it'll be that natural consequences. So it'll be, well, you missed out on getting that because you did X, Y, Z. And then he'll be, but it's not fair. But you have to keep saying, well, you did X, Y, Z. Remember? You did that and you were asked not to do that, but you still did it.
Well, that's what I have to do with my daughter.
Yep.
Because telling her doesn't like it doesn't work. I'm learning if you take something away,
Yep.
that what works. But again, you have to explain. But she
Yes.
just turned
But
4.
yeah, but also very simply. Very
Yes.
direct and very simply. And another thing is you actually have to, depending on who it is, but with my son, I find I have to start with um like say you give him an instruction or something, you have to start with why you want that done, not
Okay.
just tell him to do it.
No, it
You
makes
have to
sense.
yeah, otherwise he'll be like, I don't understand.
But that's for every
And,
kid. Instead of just making a rule and not saying why, and
mhm,
it's out of care, all they see is this is what's happening, but it's explain why this happened.
yep. And also I do it that way too, because um with ADHD you have that so if you ask them to do a task, they'll do it and then they're done and they're gone. So the actual so another thing with the is they're very literal, so you'll say pick up that blue pen and put it in the black box. They'll do just that.
Hmm.
So instead of noticing, oh, actually no, there's other pens there as well. I might pick all of them up and put them in so that it's all done.
Hmm.
They'll literally just do that blue pen in the black box.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us
You're most
and
welcome.
all of your great advice and wisdom. I believe I may have a lot to learn from you about neurodiversity. If I may be joining this journey myself with my daughter.
Yep,
And thank you. It was an honor having you.
you're
And
most welcome.
our contact information will be below for anyone who's interested. Thank you for watching, everyone.